News Group. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our wonderful globe. I'm Stephen Clinton, and thousands of members and supporters of the Congress for Democratic Change geared up for the groundbreaking ceremony of its national headquarters this Saturday in Congo Town. Basa on the party's headquarters construction committee, by whose Coca-Cola describes the project as a major milestone in party's history. Government of Liberia launches a special operation to boost the security presence along its southeastern borders ahead of Ivory Coast October 24, 2025 elections. LRS Director for Operation Colonel Dennis Sati warns against any interference into the Ivorian electoral process. And also coming up in the news, Independent National Commission on Human Rights accuses lawmakers who reportedly linked to committing atrocity during the country's civil war of opposing the establishment of the World and Economic Crimes Court for the country. And also coming up in the news, Michael Reginald has been sworn in as the new president of Madagascar. This after a military takeover on the Indian Ocean nation. Details of these developments, the news bulletin, and the voices of the news makers are packaged. We are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you voices of the news makers. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. Up next is the Bulletin of News with Sam Andrews.
As the Congress for Democratic Change is set to break ground for the construction of its long-awaited headquarters on Saturday, former Public Works Minister and advisor on the CDC Headquarter Construction Committee, Ruth Coker Collins, has hailed the project as a major milestone in the party's history. Speaking to reporters at the proposed construction site in Congo Town, former Minister Collins described the project as a beacon of hope not only for CDC partisans, but Liberians across the country. According to Ruth Coker Collins, the building would go beyond its structural function to represent a lasting symbol of the party's unity, growth, and commitment to national development. Madam Coker Collins called on CDC supporters, partisans, and members of the public to attend the groundbreaking ceremony in large numbers. She emphasized the need for calm and national cohesion, noting that every partisan should be peaceful during the celebration. Also making remarks, former Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel Twe expressed optimism ahead of the official groundbreaking ceremony on tomorrow, Saturday, calling the project both symbolic and transformative. Speaking to reporters on the site ahead of tomorrow's ceremony, former Minister Twe said the new headquarters represents the party and its supporters. He described the construction as more than just a physical development, terming it as part of a broader emotional and ideological rebuilding of the CDC. As the presidential elections in neighboring Ivory Coast, the Liberian government, through the Immigration Service, has launched what it described as special operation to boost security along its southeastern borders. Speaking with reporters, LIS Director for Operations, Colonel Dennis Sati, said the special operation is intended to prevent illegal cross-border activity and potential interference in Ivory Coast's electoral process. He announced the deployment of additional armed immigration officers in Maryland, Rivergy, Grangida, and Nima counties, all of which share borders with Ivory Coast. The move is aimed at strengthening border patrol, The LIS Director for Operation added that the operation is also aimed at tightening surveillance, ensure lawful border crossing, and deterring any Liberian involvement in Ivory Coast internal affairs. The Independent National Commission on Human Rights has accused lawmakers reportedly who reportedly committed war and economic crimes during Liberia's civil war of opposing the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court for the country. The commission claimed that the alleged attempt by the lawmakers is intended to escape prosecution. Speaking during the dedication of memorial monuments honoring more than 500 war victims in Bombing County, the chairperson of the commission, Councillor Dempster Brown, criticized the legislature for preventing key recommendations from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, particularly those calling for the prosecution of individuals involved in war and economic crimes. Bombing County Senator Edwin Snow has criticized the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism for what he termed as misuse of public platform to insult opposition leaders. Speaking Thursday following his return from his constituency at break, Senator Snow raised serious concern over the Ministry of Information use of government platform to attack critical voices. Senator Snow expressed alarm over what he described as growing trend of intolerance towards dissent, facilitated by an agency that should instead be promoting national cohesion and responsible public communication. The Bombing County Law Senator warned that the misuse of the Ministry of Information threatens democratic values and undermines civil discourse in the country. He noted that respected individuals, including religious leaders, former officials, and even political opponents, have been publicly ridiculed by Information Minister Jevelino Pia and his deputy, Daniel Sando. APM Terminal Liberia and Dock Workers Union of Liberia Thursday signed a new collective bargaining agreement at the Freeport of Monrovia aimed at enhancing working conditions and operational standards at the Freeport of Monrovia. The agreement marks a pivotal achievement in strengthening cooperation between the port operator and the workforce, a partnership both sides agreed is critical to the transformation of Liberia's main gateway. The ceremony held at the Freeport of Monrovia brought together key stakeholders, including representatives of the Dock Workers Union, the management of APM Terminals Liberia, and the National Port Authority. The managing director of APM Terminals Liberia, Richard Baho, expressed his appreciation to the union's leadership and stakeholders for their constructive engagement throughout the negotiation process. He emphasized APM Terminals' commitment to being a responsible employer, ensuring safe working conditions and fostering a culture built on shared values. The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission has brought in several individuals from the National Insurance Company of Liberia for questioning in connection with alleged financial malpractice. It follows the official's failure to produce key financial documents requested by the Commission as part of ongoing investigation into suspected irregularity at NOCAL. According to a statement, those invited for questioning are Dwyer Thomas Bidell, Chief Financial Officer, Prince Freeman, Account Clerk, and Mrs. Charlotte Quanan, Controller. The release added that despite an earlier invitation, the officials failed to submit the required financial records within 2 weeks period granted by the Commission. Following repeated follow-ups and continued non-compliance, the LACC took lawful measures to ensure their cooperation and presence to aid the investigation. In another development, Liberia Immigration Service Commissioner General Elijah Rufus has warned immigration officers across the country to desist from engaging in political related activities that could compromise the neutrality and professional integrity of the institution. He reminded all immigration officers that participation in political discussion, campaigns, and or affiliations is strictly prohibited under the Immigration Act of 2016 and the Immigration Code of Conduct, which govern professional behavior of all officers of the service. According to him, those legal instruments underscore the requirements of officers to remain impartial, disciplined, and nonpartisan in the discharge of their official duties. The Liberian government is seeking support from the People's Republic of China to renovate the rotunda and other sections of the Capitol building severely damaged by the fire on December 18, 2024. The appeal was made by the President pro tem of the Liberian Senate, Yomli Kanga Lawrence, during a high-level meeting with Zhao Li, chairman of the Senate, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress. Senator Yomli Kanga Lawrence, leading a two-member legislative delegation, asked for assistance in restoring the historic seat of Liberia's legislature. In response, Chairman Zhao welcomed the request and instructed China's vice foreign minister to coordinate with both the Chinese and Liberian ambassadors to work out technical and diplomatic arrangements necessary for the renovation. Senator Yomli Kanga Lawrence emphasized the importance of China and Liberia relations and expressed hope for expanded cooperation in capacity building for Liberia's legislature, including training programs, seminars, and scholarships. In an effort to enhance data accuracy and strengthen program performance, data, and tools for malaria, HIV, and tuberculosis, the Ministry of Health, through its National Malaria Control Program and the Division of Pharmaceutical Services in collaboration with Catholic Relief Services and Plan International, has concluded a 3-day validation workshop. Speaking during the workshop, the Chief Pharmacist of Liberia, Dr. Joshua Peters, encouraged participants to engage actively and contribute meaningfully to the validation exercise, noting that data is the foundation of building health strategies and interventions. According to him, data is not just numbers, it is the foundation upon which health strategies and interventions are built. He mentioned that accurate data allows them to understand the challenges they face, track progress, and make informed decisions that impact their health and well-being of the communities. For his part, Deputy Program Manager for Surveillance Monitoring, Evaluation and Research of the National Malaria Control Program, Victor Coco, emphasized the importance of the exercise in strengthening data systems and improving accountability. He said the validation workshop is a crucial step toward ensuring that program data truly reflects the reality on the ground. And the government of Liberia, through the Ministry of National Defense, has retired 6 senior officers of the Armed Forces of Liberia in recognition of their long-standing service and dedication to the nation. The ceremony, which was held Friday at the Barclay Training Center in Monrovia, is part of ongoing efforts by the government to honor the contribution and legacy of military personnel. Speaking at the event, President Joseph Boakai commended the retired officers for their unwavering commitment to safeguarding Liberia's sovereignty. He emphasized that their years of service reflected not only deep patriotism, but also steadfast dedication to the protection of the Liberian people. President Boakai also acknowledged the challenges currently faced by members of the Armed Forces of Liberia and pledged his government's commitment to addressing the concerns, thus ensuring improved welfare and support for service members. The Liberian leader also reaffirmed his government's commitment to recognizing and celebrating the efforts of those who served the nation. For her part, Defense Minister Geraldine Josh lauded the retirees, describing their military careers as exemplary. She noted that their journey through the ranks of the Armed Forces of Liberia stands as a roadmap and inspiration for current and future members of the force.
Sam Andrews there with the news bulletin. It's a regular feature of King's Newsroom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one world. One of our top developments, thousands of members and supporters of the Congress for Democratic Change gear up for the groundbreaking ceremony of its national headquarters this Saturday in Congo Town. Also on the party's headquarters construction committee, Madam Ruth Congo Collins describes the project as a major milestone in the party's history. We are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you voices of the newsmakers. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Let's now take our first development. As the Congress for Democratic Change is set to break ground for the construction of its long-awaited national headquarters on Saturday, former Public Works and the Public Works Minister, the Vassal, on the city seat headquarters construction committee, Madam Ruth Coker Collins, has hailed the project as a major milestone in the party's history. Speaking to reporters of the proposed construction site in Congo Town, former Minister of Public Works, Coco Collins, described the project as a beacon of hope, not only for CDC partisans, but for Liberians across the country.
Yes, so this project, or the groundbreaking, is a project that will bring hope back to our citizens and the partisans as well. Who have gathered again break ground for the new home, I think it's a good thing. So what we can say is it's a great thing. It's a history where this is going to be we are excited. To celebrate this day. So the project will be a very big one, as you on the billboard. Two-story building with a basement, ground floor, and first and second floor. So we know it will be a big place for any office. So in terms of space, it's enough for the project. Yes, my final message is to the partisans to come in the numbers peacefully to celebrate the history that is about to be made. We pray that do everything in peace. Because Liberia is all that we have. We should all celebrate, history.
Also speaking, former Finance Minister Samuel Tweed expressed optimism and pride ahead of the official groundbreaking ceremony for the Congress for Democratic Change national headquarters, calling the project both symbolic and transformative.
So, folks, welcome. Oh, Wisdom. Wisdom. Where are you? We don't have you yet. How do you feel being here to this son? I feel good. Okay. You are smiling. What's the smile about?
I appreciate the work that is about to happen. It's an opportunity for the remodeling and the rebranding, the rebuilding of the CDC. So it's a wonderful thing.
Is the CDC never dies?
No, obviously, a movement for the future.
Ahead of the official groundbreaking ceremony, sir, what's your anticipation for this place?
Well, I think it's going to be monstrous spread out. People are excited to contribute to the rebuilding of the movement. It's both a physical and a metaphorical reconstruction. So physically, there is going to be a building process going on. But I think more importantly, people want the emotional and the metaphorical attachment to the party that they contributed to the building of this great movement that will last into posterity. So I think it's a wonderful feeling. I think it's an excitement for all citizens.
Your presence here today, are you here to make some big donation?
No, I just came to observe, and we'll be here tomorrow to observe the work. I will be here. So just escape from my normal hideout. You guys don't normally see me. I don't do interviews, so it's great. It's great to be out. Yeah, I'm really just kind of
Former Finance Minister Samuel Twe there in conversation with reporters. Earlier, you listened to former Public Works Minister Ruth Cooker Collins. And to this next development, the government of Liberia, through the Liberian Immigration Service, has launched what it described as a special operation to boost the security along its southeastern borders. Speaking with reporters Friday, LIS Director for Operations, Colonel Dennis Sati, said the special operation is intended to prevent illegal cross-border activities and potential interference into the Ivorians' electoral process.
We are on a special operation. We came out with before the strength of officers in the counties, specifically at the borders, we have border patrol officers. And taking into consideration, election in Ivory Coast will be held on the 25th of this month, and looking at our border, the process at our border, and the legal borders, we are going to strengthen all those borders. Because recently, there's some bilateral arrangement or Ivory just dissatisfied from past history. Our citizens from Liberia are always intruding to our election. It's also causing some problem. And so we are here to mend the borders, that the election should be peace and violence. So we will guard our officers and also to talk to our citizens within the territorial borders at the villages and town. To be calm. We don't want to see strange movements or strange people moving into our country without any documentation. So we are doing it for Nima, grandchildren, Maryland, and also Rivergy. We've got enough armed men. They are going to abide by the code of conduct. And also we have an SOP and we're going to guard, I'll guard them out of operation. I'm doing this because of efforts control, free movement, but also we are there to protect our territorial boundaries from any intrusion. We look at the situation. We are here for 1 month. We are here for 30 days. But after the 30 days, we will see reason being necessary that we still keep them here. We still keep them here until stand down order by the Commissioner General and the Justice Minister. I will urge our citizens, especially Granadians, the Nimbanians, the Marylanders, and also those from Rajiv, to not be deterred, not to be feared. Our officers are here on a peaceful mission. They are here to protect the borders, and they will be moving and also have discussion with them, and we'll be having town hall meeting with them to let them know our mission in the Grand Counties.
The Independent National Commission on Human Rights has accused lawmakers who have reported a committed war and economic crimes during the country's civil war of opposing the establishment of the World and Economic Crimes Court for the country. The commission claimed that the alleged attempt by the lawmakers is intended to escape prosecution. Speaking recently during the dedication of memorial monument honoring more than 500 war veterans in Bond County, RNCHR chairperson, Councillor Dempster Brown, criticized the legislature for allegedly preventing key recommendations from the TRC, particularly those calling for the prosecution of individuals involved in war and economic crimes.
What we want to tell you here is that we are not going to joke. We continue to insist. And I want to inform you that the biggest mistake we ever made is to elect people who kill people in the House of Representatives and Senators. You know that we have senators in the House of Senate that kill people. We have people in the House of Representatives that kill people. They are dead. And they are trying to undermine the establishment of the war crime court. They will not be successful. When we cause the civil society to mobilize for people to get in the street for that war crime court to be established, we will do so. And so I want to assure you that today, the story that I heard, I was speaking to you here. My mother was killed in the Southeastern region. At the age of 70, she was running away going to Ivory Coast, and rocket killed her. I don't know where my mother's grave is today. And so we are not joking here. Oh, I always say this, and people don't like to see themselves around. Because if I talk the truth, I will die. If I don't talk the truth, I will die. But I will continue to say the truth. All of you here, I say sorry to you. Sorry. But those who kill your brothers and sisters will regret it. Now, if we do, because like when we went to South Israel, when people weekend, they told us that their children were among those that did the killing. And I told them that your children will be persecuted. If you Igboye, if your children got involved in the killing here, when that war crime code is established, we'll make sure that all those that killed our brothers and sisters will not make it.
Independent National Convention on Human Rights Chairperson Councilor Dexter Brown, they're speaking. The government of Liberia, through the Ministry of National Defense, has formally retired 6 senior officers of the Armed Forces of Liberia in recognition of their long-standing service and dedication to the nation. The retirement ceremony, which was held Friday at the Barclay Training Center in Monrovia, is part of ongoing efforts by the government to honor the contributions and legacy of military personnel. Speaking at the event, President Joseph Boakai commended the retired officers for their unwavering commitment to safeguarding Liberia's sovereignty.
The two statements from Army leaders are learning to respect. And I wish we had time to do that for people. I watched the show that Kentucky Family, and the commander said, everything you need is here. What is not here, you don't need it. And that's the way I thought people in the army should be treated. The other one is the captain who said, those sons of a great wing war are dying for his country. So all of you here have gone for, you are here. Some of you have served this country in other land. I want to thank you. One of the things that makes one happy is when you make people happy. When you make people know that their service mantra. When you make people know that they did not do it for nothing. I always say you can call a army, police, what it all comes down to human beings. They're all human beings who want to wish well for their children, who want to live good lives. But by profession, they make sacrifices in order to serve their nation. That's what you have done. Today we are very honored to be here to see for those of you who have done that over the years. And maybe you thought you have been forgotten. I tell you, in this government.
For his part, Defense Minister Banan Geraldine George lauded the retirees, describing their journey through the ranks of the airfield as a roadmap and inspiration for current and future members of the force.
It is with a heartful of pride and gratitude that I stand before you this morning on this event. Today we gather not to say goodbye, but to pay a profound, to perform and well-deserved tribute to six of our nation's finest patriots. We are here to own the combined legacy of service and friend of decades plus. A legacy written with dedication, sacrifice, and an unwavering love for to our distinguished retirees. On behalf of the Ministry of National Defense and the Armed Forces of Nigeria, I say thank you. Thank you for your service. You invested in defense with an idea, the idea of a peaceful, stable, and a sovereign Liberia. You stood, watched when it was not easy to do so. You endured the time away from your family. You faced challenges with resolve, and you upheld the oath with honor. You are not merely a soldier. You are architects of this modern, professional, and respected armed forces. Your contributions are etched into the very fabric of this institution. You have been mentored by your junior rank, steward to your peers, and the source of strength to your commanders. The discipline, expertise, and integrity you demonstrated have set a standard for all to follow. Your journey was not without sacrifice. The sacrifice was shared by your family, your spouse, your children, your loved ones. They were your actions, shoulder your worries, and provided the unwavering support that made your service possible. So then we extend our deepest and most heartfelt gratitude. We want to say to the family members, thank you for the support, thank you for the time, thank you for the dedication. It wouldn't have been possible without.
Defense Minister Geraldine Josh there speaking earlier on. You listened to Liberian President Joseph Boakai. Folks, if you're just coming our way, this is a reminder you're listening to the October 17, 2025 edition of King's Newsroom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one world. We're taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you more developments. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Up to this next development, Bombay County Senator Edwin Snow has criticized the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism for what he described as misuse of public platform to insult opposition leaders. Speaking Thursday following his return from his constituency break, Senator Snow raised serious concern over the Ministry of Information's use of government's platform to attack critical voices in the country. Senator Snow expressed alarm over what he described as the growing trend of intolerance toward dissent facilitated by an agency that should instead be promoting national cohesion and responsible public communication.
Presiding, we have a problem in the country, and the problem is facilitated by taxpayer money. Our Ministry of Information has turned to a platform to attack critical voices in the country. It started with the Amar Conensal was sick in the hospital in America, dying from cancer. It's an issue in line with his legislative function. He was attacked by the Ministry of Information. Senator Cregan Duncan raised a critical issue. He was attacked by the Ministry of Information. Former President Weir, when he spoke, he was mentioned that he had mosquito brain by the Ministry of Information. When Alexander Cummings spoke, height was measured, even though he's taller than President Becker, but his height was used to determine his comments by the Ministry of Information. When Bishop Cotto Brown, cleric, man who has been very critical of even past government, Samuel Doe, Charles Taylor, Ellis Selly, George Weah, even now, Cotto Brown, everybody knows he spoke. He was asked by the Ministry of Information to go and be a politician, but bombarded by that. Former Vice President Joe Howard Taylor at an opposition gathering, she was attacked by that. The point I'm making, Mr. Bizarri, that is not the responsibility or the function of the Ministry of Information. They cannot use government platform to attack critical voices. And I think we're sitting down looking at it and we think it's funny, but it's very serious. The minister and others have a platform at night they can go to. Consider an informal sector. You say what you want to say there. But when you go at the Ministry of Information and you begin to attack critical voices and insulting people, national leaders, I think they are diluting the standard of that ministry and it's turning more to a gangsterism situation. I think they need to work on it. They need to work on it. Yeah, I like that word. You need to work on it. Today might be others. Today there might be people in the opposition. But tomorrow they might come home. Even people feel this. Today if you look in the country, people there insulting each other. But the premise is for the Ministry of Information. Because if you're using the government platform to start insulting people, you would think that insult is normal in the country. They insult anybody. That's a nominee now who's coming before us for a confirmation. A female nominee, another female goes on a talk show to say something critical. She goes and insult her colleague. Mr. Pizarro, I hope we do something about it. But this is not.
Bombay County Senator Edwin Snowden criticizing the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism for what he termed as misuse of public platform to insult opposition leaders. Ahead of our news presentation is our foreign development, but this development sets the pace. APN Terminals Liberia and the Dock Workers Union of Liberia on Thursday signed a new collective bargaining agreement at the Freeport of Monrovia aimed at enhancing working condition and operational standard at the Freeport of Monrovia. The agreement marks a pivotal achievement in strengthening cooperation between the port operators and the workforce, a partnership both sides agreed is critical to the transformation of Liberia's main gateway to trade. Speaking at the signing ceremony, the managing director of APN Terminals Liberia, Richard Bowd, expressed his appreciation to the union's leadership and stakeholders for their constructive engagement throughout the negotiation process.
Your Terminals shares the vision and the mission of NPA, and we are committed to make from Monrovia a premier port. I realize that I just arrived here in Monrovia. I have a lot to learn, a lot to see, but what I saw up to now is the enormous potential of Monrovia. This potential can only be unlocked if we work together. And if discussions and different points of view are resolved amongst or around the negotiation table. We are committed to be a good employer. We are committed to protect all employees. That's the guarantee that we give. And we are committed to make, as I said, from Monrovia a premier port. We cannot do that alone. We need our employees, we need the workforce, we need the support of NPA and other authorities. But together, we represent values in this company and we stand for our values.
Also speaking on behalf of the Dock Workers Union, President Balak Bade described the journey into the agreement as difficult but worthwhile, emphasizing that the union's action were always in the interest of the workers and not driven by President agendas.
It has been a challenging week for us, challenging months. At the end of the day, we were able to get where we are. And I want to assure everyone here, including our management, that we are fully prepared to work with you, provided we all put our hands together to be sure that the right things are done. What we have been going through for the past month hasn't been personal, but it has been for the good work for our people. Management represented other people, and we represented the workforce. So I also want to state here that we shouldn't take this to be personal, because we are getting the feeling now that to make personal, which is not supposed to be the case. No matter what we do, we are still right in the workplace. And for our workers, we are going to assure the management that they are going to do the best they can, just as usual. But what has passed has already passed. What has been done has been done. We are going to work together. We can assure you, the new manager especially, we are going to assure you that we'll cooperate with you and your team, provided you give us the green light to do so.
For his part, NPA Managing Director Sekou Dukle praised the commitment shown by APN Terminals and the Dock Workers Union and emphasized that the agreement aligns with the government's broader development goals.
My chief mediator, the Honorable James Brother. It's been a good event. At midnight, 2 in the morning, trying to make sure both sides come to an agreement. But it's fair to say this agreement set the stage for where future bargaining agreement will go. We think it's genuine, believe all sides will consider the interests of all sides, especially the workers will consider. For us, the guiding principle in that, and as we were going through this process from the Stevie Doring union. So this was just something kept coming to me, like decent wages, fair working conditions. Those are things I see at APM terminals, to be honest with you. So when we got here, the goal for us was to make sure that we listen to the workers, because without the workers are the most important asset of every institution. Without the workers, there's no APM terminal, there's no NPA. I mean, practically there's no country. So for us, we listen to the workers and make sure that their concerns were addressed. But we also believe this is a good deal that set the foundation for all other deals that will come in the future. So we are very proud here at the National Port Authority to be associated with this. I mean, it wasn't the most amicable one, but we also learned in the process as well. And I was telling Jane, top of the meeting, like, you know what, just listen a little bit more, like I'm doing. Because sometimes when you talk, some people don't focus on the content of what you're saying. The theatrics are something that a lot of people will focus on.
And now on the way from home, Conor Michael Redry Nirinan has been sworn in as the new president of Madagascar days after a military takeover on the Indian Ocean nation. He swabbed his figure for a suit and thanked the youth and young people who took to the street for weeks of protest that prompted President Andry Rajoelina's to flee the country and led to his impeachment. The ceremony took place at the Constitutional Court in the country's capital. Former French colony now enters a transition period which will be full of political obstacles and legal issues. Constitutional Court President Florent Caterina criticized the international community for describing the situation in Madagascar as a coup, denied that there had been a violation of the constitution in Madagascar, still blaming the constitution for causing the situation to deteriorate. Protesters had hoped that former President Rajoelina to simply resign and pave the way for a smooth and democratic transition. Well, this is what we have for today's edition of the news program. Before we take leave of you, here are top stories we closed it for this evening. Thousands of members and supporters of the Congress for Democratic Change geared up for the construction that groundbreaking ceremony of its national headquarters this Saturday in Congo Town. Vasa on the party's headquarters construction committee, Ruth Cooker Collins describes the project as a major milestone in the party's history. Government of Liberia launches a special operation to boost security presence along its southeastern borders ahead of Ivory Coast October 24, 2025 elections. LRS Director for Operation Colonel Dennis Sati warns against any interference into the Ivorian electoral process. The Independent National Commission on Human Rights accuses lawmakers who are reportedly linked to committing atrocity during the country's civil war of opposing the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court for Liberia. Elsewhere, Colonel Michael Rajoelina has been sworn in as the new president of Madagascar days after the military takeover on the Indian Ocean nation. On this note, we'd like to say many thanks to our news writers and editors for making today's news presentation a success. Sam Andrews was here with the news bulletin. Marvin Va sat at control and ably coordinated the sound. I'm Stephen Compton. Thanks for listening and watching.